early. But these are the sort of markers that we see in our culture that's signifying and driving the change. I'm going to come back. I have one more thing I want to show you. But first I want to go to questions from the audience and hear what you all have to say. And then we'll go to one more thing. So who has the first question? So she's asking, how do we support the process of helping our clients research what they're going to do before they do it? I think all these people, when they tell their story, they tell their story by saying, well, we did all of this research first. And that's kind of how you're supposed to do everything in life, right? You kind of research and analyze, then you do. Has anyone read the book Switch? It just came out by Chip Heath, the same people who wrote Made to Stick. In the book Switch, he talks about how change actually happens. And he talks about, it's basically people see something, they think about it, and then they do it. And then they analyze and research and do all that, and then they modify and they do a second generation and third generation. So Steve and Liz didn't didn't spend 3 years creating a plan for all of this. They just did it and made mistakes and researched along the way. Sherry Anderson, she started Forge when she was really young. She didn't spend years and years researching all of this. She saw a problem, she tackled it, made tons of mistakes, almost destroyed her organization, but all along the way she had a commitment to recognizing what was working, what wasn't, and doing the research along with that. So I'm definitely a plan of basing any activity on what works, and we tell our clients that one of the key ways in evaluating a nonprofit is to ask them what research they based their programs on. But I don't necessarily think that it's a good thing to get laid up in research to not do, because you're too busy trying to figure out what should be done. I think there's something you do simultaneously. Next question here. So she's asking, how do my clients partner with universities, and how can universities partner with people like this that I've just profiled? I think that universities have one of the biggest opportunities in this space because their business is doing this research and figuring out kind of what works and what doesn't work. And they're able to make it freely available, right? So consultants frequently have to charge for their work and do customized studies. There's programs coming up all around the country. The University of Indiana started, I think it was the first, some of the most well-known kind of philanthropy program. I mentioned University of Pennsylvania, which I think is the best one in the country right now. And there's many others that are creating these sorts of programs. And I think that there's two dynamics. One is we encourage our donors to seek out good information wherever it might be. And frequently, that's going to be original research done by people who work at universities. I think that the historical way universities and all institutions have interacted with these sorts of people is to ask them for money. I think that's a big mistake. It's not that you never ask them for money. It's that that's not the opportunity here. The opportunity is to support them and partner with them and work with them. And some of that is monetary flow, but a lot of it's a lot of other elements as well. So I'm speaking in June, I think it is, to CASE, and it's like about the fundraising for universities. And part of my point is that universities need to be thinking about philanthropists and helping them with their giving, as opposed to asking them for their money. So if you help them with their giving, they're gonna give you money. So I think that it's a little bit backwards to think about how can they support the university's work, and the right way to think about it is how can we support their work, because that's gonna support our work in the long term. I think there was a question, a hand up over here, and then we'll go to you over. Go ahead. So he's asking whether Bill Gates and people like him are influencing the activities of kind of everyday people. And I think that's the biggest impact the Gates Foundation is having. It's far bigger than their money. When Gates, he was 48 years old. So let me go back a little bit. Bill Gates was never going to start a foundation. He didn't care about philanthropy. His mom kept nagging him and saying, Bill, you've got to give away some of this money. You've got too much. And he kept saying, gosh, Mom, leave me, I want to make my computer stuff and just leave me alone. And then he got married, and his wife said, Billy, you've really got to give away some of this money. Okay, well, my mom, his dad is actually a big philanthropist, very involved with the foundation now. So they started the foundation, but he was just going to give the money and keep doing the real important work of running Microsoft. But then he got hooked, right? He got hooked into all this stuff. And at age 48, he said, I've got something more important to do than run the most important tech company in the world. I need to run my foundation. That's more important. He was only 48, right? The Carnegies and Rockefellers, they all retired when they were 70, and then they do the good stuff, right? That's what you did when you retired. It was like a post-important stuff job that you had. But Gates quit at age 48 to do this stuff. And then Warren Buffett, months after this decision, who he'd always said he was going to give his money away at the end of his life, said, you know what, I'm going to give 85% of my wealth to the Gates Foundation now. Those two events, I think, were hugely influential in the shift that's going on. Wealthy people and everyday individuals all around the country have cited the Gates decision, the Buffett decision, in their own philanthropy. My favorite is Jackie Chan, the kung fu artist, right, who does all of his own stunts. In China, there isn't a culture of philanthropy, and it's starting to come now. And Jackie Chan said, it never occurred to me to kind of start a foundation to give my money away until I saw what Bill Gates and Warren Buffett did. And now it's a huge, huge part of what he does. The Gates Foundation is a private foundation, so it doesn't fundraise, doesn't ask for money for anybody. And some people had tried to give them money. Said, you're doing such great work, we want to give you the money, you know where to give it away. And they always said, no, we can't do it, we don't want to take any money, don't give us any money. Until a 7-year-old girl in Indiana sent them 15 bucks. And a letter that said, I read about the Gates Foundation in the paper, and here's all the money in my piggy bank, and would you do good with this $15? Well, clearly they couldn't send it back, right? So they said, okay, well, we're going to create this policy that if you give us money and it's unrestricted and you don't tell us what to do with it and just give us the money, then we'll take the money. Last year they got $10 million in unsolicited gifts. Unrestricted, unsolicited, they're just doing their own work and people are watching them and giving them money. And I think that what that's tapping into is people saying, I want to do good in the world, I want to make sure it actually makes a difference and I don't know how to do that. So that's a big part of the people who I work with are people who are saying, like, they've always been giving for a long time. I don't have any clients who won the lottery and show up and say, would you help me give this away? I don't know what to do. That'd be a good client though. What people have is they come and they say, I've been giving, $500,000, $250,000 a year for the last decade, but I'm not sure I've done anything. I want to really make a difference. And so I think there's that cultural mindset, and what's happening for people who give to the Bill Gates or who watch Bill Gates are saying, it seems like he's actually making a difference, and that's what I want to do. Question over here. So he's asking about the trend towards privatization of the social sector and the difference between people paying taxes to create social good and to volunteer or gearing to create social good. The United States has a pretty unique history around philanthropy. People give the most on a per capita basis from any country in the world. However, the other side of that is you look at countries like, say, Sweden, where tax rates are really high. They don't give at high levels because they kind of don't need to give at high levels because they're paying a lot in taxes and it's going towards the social good. I think that both are really important. It's not really either or. That the government, almost by definition, has to do programs that are politically safe, that seem to work, and that don't upend any political interests or any interest about, vested interest about what works or doesn't work. So these ads that Tom Siebel ran, the government wouldn't have created those. People would have said, why are you spending so much money on Nike's ad producers? That is crazy. This is supposed to be social good work. You can't spend that much money. Only someone like Tom Siebel can do that. So I think there's both, and I think actually the trend that's emerging is more and more for-profit entities looking at how social good works into their plan, and less and less view that only nonprofits do good and for-profits make money, that there's a blend going on.